There's a lot of songs with like September in it. Of course, you got the Earth, Wind, and Fire September, which you all know there. And of course, you got, one of Sinatra hits, like the September of My Years, which wasn't really what his greatest. And then, well, it's Green Day, Wake Me Up When September Ends. You ever get into that? Like, paint your hair green, like Green Day, the grunge? You ever get into it? Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, the Riz is back. Anthony Rizzo rejoins the Yankees after fracturing his arm a couple of months ago. And of course, the roster expands in September, as we said we would this month. So we'll kind of just look at some of the initial moves the Yankees made. A couple of surprises, but also a couple of no-brainers. And though, I've beaten him up a bit over the past couple of seasons at Section 420 Talkin Yankees, but we'll give a little kudos to Giancarlo Stanton. Had a little bit of a historic home run, maybe, didn't get big news, but again, worth mentioning. And of course, we'll look down the final stretch of the games. Of course, we got both the Orioles and the Yankees neck and neck in the AL East, and that's kind of been the way it's been for most of the season there. And we'll actually look at the record, basically the record and schedule for both teams down the stretch here to see which team has the harder path to get towards the end of the season. And if you're a Yankee fan, you'll get a slight crack of a smile there. Got some good news for you, but we'll break the whole thing down. But before we get started, we've got the whole month left, and before you know, we'll be into the postseason. I'm sure the Yankees will be there one way or another. So I know you like to watch me, but maybe you want my takes a little more, frequently during the week. You want to see how I react to a certain series or some big sort of news. In order to do so, you got to be a podcast subscriber. So wherever you get your favorite podcast, Section 420 Talkin Yankees. It's the hearing version, not the seeing version. I know you like to see me, but you want to hear me more often. So make sure you subscribe there. And of course, if you're watching right now on YouTube or anywhere else and you haven't done it yet, subscribe there as well. And of course, happen to be watching on TV somewhere, flipping through the channels. Like, this is awesome, but I like to see it on the go. I like to see it on the train. I like to see when I'm at the gym, kind of on the treadmill there. You could do it. You can stream it. Make sure you go to Section 420 Talkin Yankees on YouTube, as well as where you get your favorite audio podcasts. You get all of it. Now, it's a little bit old news at this point, but of course, September 1st, the Yankee roster expanded to 28 players then. There was speculation who would come up. Of course, we figured that, we would see Jason Dominguez right out of the gate. Turned out to not happen. Now, again, at some point, he will probably going to come September there. I mean, obviously, it's going to happen there. But kind of left fans a little perturbed. I mean, they were kind of expecting Jason. And plus, once you want to give him like a full month to kind of, get his reps on the major league level there. I know he's kind of crushing it in the minors there. But get him a full month under his belt there. And then you go into the postseason with, hit the ground running there. But that was not the case. Ended up bringing up Duke Ellis, which is like, who's that guy? So, again, maybe you weren't paying attention, or again, it was kind of around Labor Day. Maybe you went on vacation, maybe went down to the Jersey Shore or something. Just for a couple of days, you were kind of checked out and you missed really what happened. And then you're going to see some guys coming out of the bullpens like, who's this guy? Where did this guy come from, man? So we'll take a moment. We'll kind of recap the whole thing just so you got it, just so you have that conversation there with your friends there. You know what you're talking about. First of all, I guess the big news, and I kind of mentioned at the top, is that Anthony Rizzo officially came off the 60-day IL. Again, that's when he fractured his arm there. Now, since he's back, they sent down Ben Rice, who was kind of man in the position there, back down to the minors there. And for Ben Rice, look, it was okay. He came on, got you all hyped up. Remember the 3 home run performance against Boston there, and he had a couple of home runs here and there. He had one in Philadelphia, and remember, I guess, the Saturday game in Boston there, the big comeback, getting that big double off the wall against Kensley Jansen there. So he's had a couple of moments there, but you got to look at his batting average was below 200 there, and it's just getting to a point like, it wasn't like he was swinging out of his shoes. He didn't look like he was overmatched there, but like, you got to hit the ball and get some hits there eventually, and that wasn't the case with him. He was taking his walks there, but again, still not getting there with the batting average, and it was almost perfect for the Yankees if he would just hit well, and then he goes to tell Rizzo, right, just sit on the bench and take your time there. But of course, with Rizzo coming back, he's making $20 million. Look, we like Rizzo. He's one of the guys. I know overall before he got hurt, he wasn't having the best of seasons. He wasn't hitting that well. In fact, some people speculate he's still having some concussion issues going back from last season. Then again, not really having a great season, but at least he's hitting over 200. With Ben Rice, there wasn't a case. So with Rizzo coming back, they sent Ben Rice back down. And Ben Rice, of course, he's someone who's probably going to, at least see, he'll probably get at least a go-ahead nod coming up in 2025. After the season, again, I said it a couple times in case the Yankees do have a team option on Rizzo, but they're not going to pick it up because it's just, at this point, he's going to be 36 years old. The last 2 years have not been good. I know he had the concussion situation there, but they're not going to pick him up and pay him $20+ million for the production he has, which has again gone really downhill since a couple of seasons ago when the Yankees first got him there. So Ben Rice will get a shot next year. Obviously, there'll be some competition there, so I don't think like it's deserving to him to be the first baseman. But you'll see some more Ben Rice in the future. But it's good at least he got up here, got a couple of months under his belt, got some some experience on the major league level there, and that should help him moving forward. But again, as right now, the Riz is back, Anthony Rizzo, and he wants to see from, at least you want to look at it from a defensive position there. Not that Ben Rice was bad, but you always want a left-handed first baseman just for the angle, the way the ball's angled and stuff like that. And plus, again, Rizzo, again, very good defensive first baseman. I know he had a couple of blips earlier this season there, but overall, you like him there. Again, he has the experience. He has postseason experience. Remember, he had the run with the Cubs there on their championship march there, so you kind of like that going in there. Again, not really impressive with you batting-wise, but at least if you look at his first game, and that was the Sunday game against the Cardinals there, he did go for 2 for 4 and actually had a big RBI double in that game. And again, it's just a very small sampling size right now, but so far in the games that he's been back, again, he's gone a total, at least at this point, 3 for 8 with 3 hits and 3 RBI. So actually hitting a little bit better before he actually got hurt now. Average at 228, not great. But again, still a little bit better what you were getting with Ben Rice, which was not really much at all then, a little disappointing, and that's why you kind of see, DJ LeMahieu was eating his way into some of Ben Rice's at-bats here. Now again, the perfect situation was Ben Rice to take the job and run away with it, but that wasn't the case. So DJ was starting to cut into his playing time there, but now with Rizzo back, you'll see actually probably DJ now lose some at-bats there, unless he could kind of find his way to finesse his way to over third base there. So that's Rizzo. So Rizzo's back there, so that was one move. They sent Will Warren down, which thank goodness. I mean, his last couple of starts were absolutely brutal. I mean, just basically giving up like 4 or 5 runs in like 1 inning. I mean, and then the rest of the game is fine there. But 2 games old, but sending him down, so we don't have to see him anymore. Thank goodness. So he gets sent down. Now coming up was 2 bullpen arms. Now I mentioned the last episode, Scott Efros, that down in AAA. They were kind of holding him back a little bit because really the story was that his velocity wasn't where they wanted to be and wasn't where he was with the Yankees back in 2022. But I guess the time they want, the time they feel is right now is to bring him out. So bringing him and Ron Marinaccio, the local guy, the Jersey Shore guy, who the Yankees have him up and down there. So you got those 2 arms to bolster the bullpen, which I remember the last episode is I think going to be the Yankees' Achilles heel, at least going into the playoffs there. So you get those 2 guys. Now, the position play we were all hoping for was Jason Dominguez. Instead, we got Duke Ellis. Now you're like, who's Duke Ellis? So it was a move I didn't mention here, and I didn't actually mention on the audio podcast of Section 420 Talkin Yankees, which you should be subscribed to already. I guess it was kind of a minor move. They picked him off the waivers from the Seattle Mariners, and this is kind of this nondescript guy. It's like, it was like one of those things that's not even worth mentioning. You figure the guy might not even be in baseball for 2 years. So again, if you don't know much about him, but basically, he's a base stealing extraordinaire. So if you remember when the Yankees a couple of seasons ago had Tim LeCastro, basically someone like Giancarlo Stanton would work a walk, get on first base there, and LeCastro would come off the bench there, steal second base, get himself in scoring position, and someone would drive him home. So that's kind of what to do with this Duke Ellis guy. So in terms of strategy, I mean, I kind of like it. And, the Yankees kind of not exactly, speed demons and stealing bases there. I mean, I know you have Volpe, but other than that, not too many guys. I mean, Gleyber Torres, Jazz, of course, and even Judge, if you're not paying attention, could sneak one once in a while there. But overall, the Yankees aren't exactly speed demons, and they don't exactly steal a lot of bases. This has been going on for years with the Yankees. Even had like Brett Gardner a couple of seasons ago. He would wait forever at first base, but he finally try to steal there. So the Yankees don't steal a lot of bases. So this is what Duke Ellis does. He's a base stealing extraordinaire. Nothing offensively there, but he has, if you want to look at the minors and his brief stint in the majors, he's stolen a total of 138 bags. So this guy swipes bags. That's what he does. And defensively, he can play all outfield positions. So if you look at him September, that's pretty good just because, you want to rest guys or you get some of these extra inning games maybe. You want to just give someone a night off or a breather. He can play all outfield positions. He bats left. He throws left. But again, you're not looking for his his hitting there. You're looking for him to steal bases. So, again, you're expecting Jason Dominguez, you get that guy, so you're going to be kind of dumbfounded, you're going to kind of be disappointed, but it's not a big deal. Now Boone said with Jason Dominguez, they don't want to bring him up here just for like play 3 games and sit a game out or play 2 games and sit out the week. They want him to only come up here when he's going to get consistent at-bats. So maybe right now, or it might have happened already, at some point Jason Dominguez will be up here in September when they feel there's that path for him to do that. Again, we don't know what the plan is with that. Is that going to mean now less at-bats for Verdugo, which we'll get into a little later in the show there? Does that mean for less at-bats for Giancarlo Stanton, or maybe even Judge, give him a breather a little bit in center field, because Jason Dominguez, again, he can play center field there. So I don't know exactly how they're going to figure it out, but when they do bring Jason up, they want to make sure it's a situation where he's going to be able to get at least some consistent play, not just come up here and just to be sitting on the bench or playing, like only twice a week there. So I can understand it from that standpoint. But I just thought why not bring him up sooner there? Is this Ellis guy, is he going to be a big factor? Is he going to be stealing bases left and right? Probably not. Maybe one here or two there. I think it'd benefit the Yankees have, Jason Dominguez, what he could do at the plate and crushing home runs and driving runs more than what Ellis gives you. But nevertheless, that's the plan. They're going to stick with it. So that gets you all caught up. Hopefully, you caught of that. So the Riz is back. Ben Rice goes away. Will Warren goes away. He's down. And coming up, of course, we got Marinaccio, Scott Efros to bolster the bullpen there, which is, again, going to be an issue going into the postseason there. And, of course, we got the infamous, the legendary Duke Ellis. Now, the Yankees and fans had a little scare down in Texas there, and that was, of course, the Garrett Cole start, who finally was having a start where he kind of looked like the old Garrett Cole. He was like striking out guys left and right there. But, of course, came out the 7th inning to warm up there, and he kind of was going for his calf there. Turns out he cramped up a little bit, and they took him out of the game there. Now, according to Cole, it's really no big deal, and it's actually something he mentioned a start last season against the Dodgers where he was able to pitch through it, but he kind of regretted doing that there. And I guess, maybe obviously with September there, playoffs around the corner there, he didn't want to mess around there, so he almost like opted just to come out of the game, but he mentioned it really been no big deal. Now, the Yankees said they were going to monitor it. No official word about anything like, going to IL or skipping a start or anything like that. And if you kind of see, if you want to go back, it's been a little bit of a house of horrors down there in Texas for the Yankees. Remember Phil Hughes back in 2007 there? He was working on a no-hitter there. And then I think that's when he tweaked it towards like his hamstring or his groin there. So kind of a repeat situation. So we don't know if it's like the Texas air, the Texas heat. But nevertheless, this doesn't look like a serious situation. Just a little bit of a cramp. And then, again, I got to understand Garrett Cole doing the right thing. At that point, the Yankees had a good lead right now. And it's like, look, he's pitching well. He's been pitching well his last several starts there. So, again, not wanting to threaten anything, not want to push anything, so going out of the game there. So again, if you're worried about that, it doesn't seem like it should be a big deal. Again, we have no official update right now yet. Anything of having on the IL, skipping stuff like that. But again, it was just more cold, just being cautious there. So kind of explains that there. And if you remember, go back to even like the 2021 season there, Garrett Cole's kind of battling a bit of a hamstring himself there. We tried to rest up, but really bothered him the whole second half of the season there. And of course, that's when he had the one-game playoff start against Nathan Eovaldi in Boston. Lost that game 2-0 there, and he was only able to go like 5 innings there. So I understand Garrett Cole just looking back in the memory bank and some of that stuff there, and he wants to be 100% hit the ground running. Again, once we go into the postseason there. So again, just a little bit precautionary. Don't panic at the start there. But you just got to hope that something doesn't like pop up, mid-September again. Now, the Yankees starting rotation will get a little bit boost, so that would have Garrett Cole if, again, they want to give him this extra day off here or there, just to, again, rest up that potential cramp in his calf there. And I've got a couple of familiar faces we've been waiting on. One of them, of course, Luis Heel, who had the lower back spasm. Again, he was put on the IL, and even longer than that, Clark Schmidt, who, ironically, as soon as Cole was ready to rejoin the Yankees, back in like July there, he, of course, had the issue, the oblique issue, and he was been gone for like 60 days there. So both are coming off the IL there, and they're going to be introduced into the Cubs series. So when the Yankees go play the Cubs at Wrigley Field, the plan is to have Luis Heel pitch that Friday night game, and of course Clark Schmidt will pitch the Saturday game there. Now, you figure, well, the Yankees have a 6-man rotation, which, we kind of discussed that, early in the season. That might be a good thing for the Yankees, just the fact that, again, you were having Garrett Cole coming off kind of building his endurance up. You have someone like Luis Heel, who has never really pitched a full season in a major league on the major league level before there. So it would benefit a few guys to have some inning limits, as well as Nestor coming back from an injury-plagued 2023 there. So didn't really work out that way for the meat of the season. But you look at this final month, it is all on the table there, because technically right now the Yankees do have the 6 starters running. But that's not going to be the case, at least for the first go-around, with all these guys back. So the plan is for that Saturday Schmidt game, you want to call it, Nestor Cortez is actually getting bumped out of the rotation. So the plan for him is actually to come in out of the bullpen there. But then once the Yankees have that Red Sox series, then he will officially then join the rotation again to pitch one of those games in the Red Sox series. So right now, I guess at least the first go-ahead of having all these 6 starters, they're not actually going to do that. They're going to bounce Nestor for a start, have him work out of the bullpen there, and then come back around and rejoin the rotation. And again, the rest of September, just based on the matchups and who they're playing and, who has days off and whatnot, they're going to kind of work their way through that there. I like the idea. And again, Luis Heel, like I mentioned the last episode, again, I think he's going to be best served coming out of the Yankee bullpen right now, which is having some issues there. Again, you could have someone like Luis Heel come out. He has very dominating stuff. He doesn't have to worry about going 5, 6 innings. He could just come in for 1 or 2 innings, just empty the gas tank at 100 miles per hour there, and just blow guys away. That's the best case scenario. But as a starter, we also seen him have a lot of walks this season as well. And you have him coming out of the bullpen and giving up a ton of walks there, especially in the postseason. That's a disaster there. So Yankees gotta have to manage that a little bit. But overall, if you look at the rest of this month goes on, I think Luis Gil is going to be the odd man out because, again, he's just better suited just coming out of the bullpen and kind of being a jack of all trades. And if you want to go back to like the Boston Red Sox when they won it, a couple of seasons ago, they had Nathan Eovaldi, was kind of that guy. He would start a little bit. He would he would close games for them. He would sometimes come out and just pitch 3 innings. It was like whatever he needs to do, he could do. I can see Luis Gil being that guy in the postseason. I think he's just better suited for that. The other guys not as much. And Nestor Cortes, I know that final Cardinal game, he got roughed up a little bit at home there. Again, it wasn't a good game for him. Also had some bad defense behind him, and the bullpen was just terrible. It was just a bad game. The Yankees gave up like 14 runs up and down there. But before that point there, Nestor Cortes was probably having his best couple starts of the season just before that start there. So I don't think it's a situation of bouncing Nestor because of that one bad start there. I just think this is the way it works out. You're not going to have obviously you're not having Garrett Cole coming out of the bullpen. You're not having Rondon coming out of the bullpen just with the money to make it. Say even someone like a Marcus Stroman. I mean, these are guys you're paying to be a starter there. Nestor Cortes relatively making peanuts there, and it could have been a case of bouncing Nestor a little early in the season. Again, midway of the season, he was kind of struggling a little bit there. But Nestor Cortes, I think he can handle it. His personality-wise, I don't think it would frazzle him at all. Plus, originally, again, he was a relief pitcher, just going back his days with the Yankees as well as the Orioles and Seattle Mariners and brief stints there as well there. So, again, I think he's better equipped to handle it. And then someone like Clark Schmidt, yeah, he also has some experience coming out of the bullpen, but he's someone you're trying to groom to be a starter. And again, before he got hurt there, he was doing well. And if you remember collectively early in the season, Yankees starting rotation, really the Yankee staff in general, was just doing some historic things in terms of team ERA and wins and stuff like that. So I just don't think they want to, I think they want to groom Clark Schmidt to be a starter, moving forward there. So Luis Gil, Clark Schmidt back. We'll see where they fit in the postseason plans. But of the two of them, I think Luis Gil is going to be a big factor in the postseason. Now, a follow-up to a very important story that we've been following here at Section 420 Talkin Yankees, and that's Verdugo's hands. So, mentioned that before, he got the new gloves from Franklin. Again, these are without the chemicals that was giving him the rash. He had kind of these rash and blisters on his hand, which he had to tape up there a little bit, and obviously uncomfortable to hit with. You can't blame him with there. And if you look at his batting average this season compared to his career, well below his average. So it's definitely affecting his hitting there. Power and RBI is not as much there, but again, this is normal hitting was affecting him there. So he got the new gloves, put them on. So you might think, well, are they working or not? Did they have any effect there? So it seemed like it is having a positive effect on him. So now this is, as of this moment right now, if you want to look at his last 7 games, hitting .333. So he was kind of like the low 200s before he got the new gloves. Now again, last 7 games, hitting .333. So obviously the gloves, the new gloves, and the thing was, bothering there. So good thing on there. Now, got no home runs, no really power surge like that, but the 9 hits do mean a lot there. Got 9 hits in the 7 games there, so it looks like the gloves are paying off for Verdugo. Now, of course, he's going to be looking over his shoulder because once Dominguez comes up here in September there, again, he's probably going to be the more guy that loses at bats there. So is that the gloves, or is it him just maybe some sort of motivation hitting more because he doesn't want to lose his playing time to Dominguez? Possibly. I don't know if it's psychological. And again, baseball very psychological there, but it's probably more the gloves than anything else. But again, it looks like he would be the odd man out once Dominguez comes up here, because I just don't. Obviously, you're not taking bats away from Judge. You're not taking bats away from Soto, and of course, and we'll mention him a little later in the show there. Giancarlo Stanton at DH there. I know maybe you figure, Verdugo Stanton. I know it's not the Stanton of the MVP Stanton from like 2017 there, but Giancarlo Stanton, again, a well-established power hitter, and we could do if he just makes contact with the ball, extend it a long way, especially if you got a couple of runners on. You want that weapon there more than you want Verdugo. So once Dominguez comes here, unfortunately, Verdugo, ironically, now that he's probably hitting probably as good as he has been all season there, is probably going to lose a lot of playing time to Dominguez. And I guess we'll get into the whole Giancarlo Stanton thing I mentioned at the very beginning of this episode. Again, he's some tradition I've beat up on. I've beat up on him a lot. DJ LeMahieu, Gleyber Torres, and of course before they got rid of him, Josh Donaldson and Aaron Hicks. That's kind of been the pecking order. But Giancarlo Stanton having a good bounce back season here in 2024. Things were going well for him. And for the DH spot for the All-Star voting was second there. But unfortunately, that's around the time he's got hurt. Been out for a while. He's come back and really didn't hit the ground running a little bit. But finally, you see his bat come to life and really if you want to look at the last few games there, and really kind of pick it up for Judge because, towards the end of August, Judge was an absolute tail. It was like hitting a home run every game there, sometimes hitting 2 home runs in a game, and that's what the point was like, hey, could he challenge Bond's 73, for a season? Well, he's cooled off a tad bit, just a tad bit. Again, still hitting the ball, again, not getting like, a home run every game there, so he's cooled off a tad bit as well as Soto there with the home run ball, but in that absence, Giancarlo Stanton has picked up the slack there. So if you want to look at Stanton's last 15 games up to this point there, hitting 250, which again, more or less a guy like that you expect, but 13 hits, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 6 runs himself. So really kind of picking up the power surge that's kind of been avoided a little bit with Judge and Soto, just cooling off just a tad bit there. But importantly, the thing is there that in the Texas series, hit his 25th home run of the season, which made him right now the only active player in all of baseball right now who has 10 seasons of at least 25 home runs. So I guess a little historic moment for him there. Now, last season, he fell just one short. He only had 24 home runs last season there. So if he could have just gotten one more last season, then obviously he would be the only player with 11 seasons of at least 25 home runs there. So doing a historic thing there. So, where's his final number end up? Maybe he ends up around 30 home runs for him. So you want to look at, him compared to last season to now. Again, a real big bounce back. And last season he looked just completely lost at the plate. I know he still has those games where he just swings at balls in the dirt, or he'll just have a 4 strikeout performance and just drives it nuts there. But we're getting a much better version of Giancarlo Stanton than we had maybe almost in the last 2 seasons. And you saw the work he did in the offseason, lost a lot of weight, cut down on the swing a little bit, tweaked a little bit things, and it's been paying off for him overall there. And this is what you'd like to see. If you could use the rest of September, just keep that bat hot there, and then maybe again make some big noise come in the postseason. Again, that's like the way. That's what I like to see. Like to see guys get hotter as the season goes along, and that's what you see the situation with Giancarlo Stanton now. Again, at age 34, again he's going to be with the Yankees for a couple more seasons in there, and of course, at some point he should be able to hit his 500th home run, which will be done in a Yankee uniform there. And again, make a very good case for him. Again, I don't want to jump too far ahead there, but if you look at during his tenure there, definitely one of the more feared hitters in the game there. And if he could reach that 500th home run plateau, I think it almost guarantees him to the Hall of Fame there. Also, he also has an MVP under his belt that helps as well there. But would really, really help if he get a World Series ring. So as mentioned at the top, both the Yankees and the Orioles are going to kind of be a dogfight for the AL East title, and you kind of want to get there as well as they have one of the top records in the American League East. You get the first round bye, of course, at that, and this saves you so you can set up your starting rotation how you want it when you go into the playoffs. There, maybe rest up some of your position players. Someone like Judge, for example, who's probably going to probably be busy swinging, hitting home runs and stuff during the month. So they kind of want to give him a day or two off before the playoffs start there. So again, it's very kind of important to win the AL East title there. So you want to look at both the Yankees and the Orioles there. Now you want to see, look at look at the schedule coming up. Which is a benefit against their opponents there. Do the Yankees have the easiest schedule? Do the Orioles have the easiest schedule, or do the Yankees have a tougher schedule? So I kind of looked at for the rest of September. Now this starts on Friday, September 6th. All through the rest of the month, which really closes out the season. And I kind of looked at each series each team has, who they're facing, the record against the team they're facing, and their situation. So if you have, example, a team like the Yankees play towards the end of the month, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are playing for absolutely nothing there. I mean, those are really almost 3 wins you show almost chalk up there, because what are the Pirates really playing for other than, maybe want to knock the mighty Yankees off their pedestal. But other than that, so I looked at both schedules for both the Yankees and the Orioles, and I say, all right, who has the easier path, which will, probably determine who most likely wins the AL East there. So we'll run it down for both organizations. So I guess we'll lead off the Yankees because we love them. So first they have a series against the Cubs there, who right now, and all these teams are relatively good for both sides there. I think maybe with baseball, not too many terrible teams. I know we have our friends at Chicago there, and Colorado, and Oakland, some of them there. But again, even in around the league though, at least a lot of teams are at least around 500, a little bit over, a little under there. So again, baseball a little bit more balanced than it was many years ago. But nevertheless, Cubs there at 71 and 67. Then you have Kansas City at 75 and 64. Now Kansas City, you may notice this, they actually have the final wild card spot in the American League. So just as crazy as that all seems. Then the Yankees have the Boston Red Sox, who are 70 and 68, and there are 4.5 games out of the wild card there. Then you have the Seattle Mariners, who have a disappointing season at 69-69. They're 5.5 games out there. So yeah, are they going to be struggling, try to fight a little bit, but they're kind of a little bit on the outs there of making a spot there in the wild card. Then, of course, you have one of those bad teams. Okay, finally, the Oakland A's at 60 and 78, so 18 games under 500. Obviously, they're 14 and a half games out of the wild card. They got no shot there again. I don't think they're going to be playing for much there. And of course, then now the Orioles and the Yankees face each other head-to-head, but we'll call that a wash. We'll just say, we'll cancel those teams out. We're not going to count the Orioles. And then, of course, I mentioned before at the end there, Pittsburgh, a good way you want to end your season, who are right now 64 and 73, so they're 9 games below 500, and they're 10 games back out of the wild card spot. They have no realistic chances. So I added up all the wins of those teams that the Yankees face and all those losses here, and this is good news. So total wins right now, 409 wins and 419 losses. So combined, the teams they're facing right now, they're 10 games under 500 record-wise there. So that's good news. Again, it doesn't guarantee wins or losses there, but you're facing, again, combined in September, the teams they're facing right now, wins and losses are 10 games under 500 there. So that's our Yankees. Now, let's flip over to our friends, the Orioles. They kick it off at AL East foe, the Rays, who are right now 67 and 73 games under 500. Got no shot for the postseason. They're not going to be playing much. But again, they usually play the Orioles and the Yankees tight just because, the AL East, they all want to beat each other up there. Yeah, they also faced the Red Sox there, who were, like I mentioned before, 70 and 68, just 2 games over 500. Again, realistically, probably out of the wild card hunt, really there. Now, Orioles, this is actually could be good, could be bad for them, but they actually faced the Tigers twice, both at home and away. And the Tigers right now just 1 game over 500 at 70 and 69. But again, they're going to face them 6 times there. So who does that benefit, the Tigers or the Orioles? Then they have a little last interleague play there with the San Francisco Giants, who've had a disappointing season right now at 68 and 70, so 2 games under 500. And last but not least, they got the Minnesota Twins, who are having a good season at 75 and 62, so that's 13 games over 500 there. So now I looked at the Orioles, the teams they're facing in September there, and I took their combined wins and their combined losses, and their record's a little tougher. So it's 420, and 408. So they're facing teams that are combined 12 games over 500. So if you want to see the Yankees, who are facing teams collectively in September that are 10 games under 500, Orioles facing teams collectively 12 games over 500, then at least reason dictates that the Orioles have the tougher schedule. Hence, it favors the Yankees of winning the AL East title there. Now, does that guarantee everything? No, of course. We've seen with the Yankees, I've said this if you listen to the audio podcast a million times, they have a lot of series against teams they should beat, and either they lose 2 out of 3, or you saw a situation, with the Reds, and then they just get absolutely embarrassed by a team they have no business losing to, or you have a team like the White Sox where, okay, you win 2 out of 3, but it's like the terrible White Sox who've lost like 22 games in a row. Like, can you sweep that whole series? You only get 2 out of 3. Or when the Yankees came home against Colorado, get another terrible team. I mean, okay, they took 2 out of 3, but can you just sweep them? And you should be able to sweep them. So it guarantees nothing. But the Orioles, if you want to go by team record, have the tougher path to the AL East there. Now, as I mentioned before, both teams face each other in late September, 3 games there, so that could make a determination as well there. But again, I washed those out, let those cancel each other out there. But again, if you want to judge, see if the Yankees got an opportunity to win the AL East right now, the schedule East favors them more in September. So the story kind of caught in the New York Post, kind of do when the Yankees were down in Texas there, and had to do with, remember Judge's 60-second home run there, kind of ended up like in the first row, and basically they put like some memorial plaque there. They're like, hey, this is where Judge hit his 60-second home run. Well, apparently it's been getting stolen. I don't know if someone comes in with a crowbar and rips it open, but apparently this thing's been stolen twice, and now the Texas Rangers say they're not going to bother putting a 3rd plaque there because it's probably going to get stolen again. But my whole deal is, look, I kind of appreciate it, like doing, for Judge there, but it's like, it's a Texas Rangers home ballpark. I could never imagine the New York Yankees putting a plaque for like a feat that like a Red Sox player did, or like an Anaheim Angel did, like, hey, David Ortiz hit his 500th home run here. Like George Steinbrenner, if that ever happened, would be rolling in his grave there. So again, I commend Texas for doing it in the first place. I don't know why people are stealing a thing, but again, it's a Yankee feat. Why are you putting that in your own ballpark? So I kind of understand why fans would want to steal it. Should be stealing that. Now, if it shows up on eBay, you know where it came from. So that's the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. As mentioned, September, it favors the Yankees. So let's see how it shakes out.